Welcome to the Motivated Martial Arts Podcast. Your hosts, Jackson White and Gavin Cook, have been friends and Taekwondo training partners for over 40 years. This podcast will bring you a mixture of their life stories, martial arts, and business experiences to motivate you in life and throughout your martial arts journey. Adding in a mixture of inspiring interviews and some of the best traditional martial artists around today. So over to your hosts, the Motivated Martial Artists.
Good morning and welcome to the Motivated Martial Artist Podcast with me, Jackson White.
And Gavin Cook.
And this morning we've got a really inspirational young lady who I've certainly followed all the way through her career. She started martial arts at the tender age of 5. She's now only 18, so I've watched the transition from a junior to a cadet to an adult. Maya Levan. She's competed in European and World Championships. She's well renowned for her robust approach in sparring and her flamboyant approach in patterns and musical patterns across the Taekwondo arena. So good morning, Maya.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hi.
Are you well?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
That's very good, thank you.
Yeah, we're really good. Thanks for coming on this morning. Going to kick off straight away because I know our listeners are really excited to have you on this morning. So I'm going to hand you over to Gavin to go with the first question.
Okay then, Maya. So just the first question that we always ask our guests is just want to know a little bit about sort of your early life and how you started off in Taekwondo. I guess it was probably your parents that took you along, but obviously I'm sure we're going to hear your story, so that'll be great to hear.
Okay, guys. So I was born in Newport, which is a city in Wales, and basically my early life and childhood just consisted of me training literally 24/7 because my parents own Cwmbran and Pontypool Taekwondo Club. I was practically born into the sport. I didn't start training until the 1st of October in 2006, and up until then I would literally be in the club and my parents would just carry me around somewhere, or what my dad used to do when I was a baby. You know those baby straps across your body in the front? I used to just sit in one of those while my dad was teaching.
Okay, cool. I hope it wasn't sparring.
So I would just be at the club all the time. I'd be sat on the side up until I was old enough to train. And when I was old enough to train, then they'd try and ease me into training, get me to do warm-up and stuff like that. I did try it at the early age of 5, then I didn't like it at all. So I stopped. And then I came back later in the year and I started to just really enjoy taking part and being with everyone, really. I was a very energetic child. I still am quite energetic now.
Yes, you are.
I really enjoyed all the running around and the idea of just being able to sit with my parents.
Yeah, do you know what, Maya? You've just made me feel like the oldest man in the world. Because in 2006, 2007, that's actually when I left the armed forces to start my second career. And you're just starting to walk and learn Taekwondo. I feel old now. Thank you.
But, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I used to go up until, actually, now, I still have the same schedule. I would go to school, or my sisters go to school now because I've finished. And we'd pick them up straight from school, and we'd be in gymnastics from 4 till 5:30 on a Monday and Thursday. And then we'd go drive to Cwmbran and Pontypool, and we'd go training then until from 6 till 9:30 or 9, depending on which day it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd do that every weekday, apart from a Wednesday, where I'd be in gymnastics from 4 till 7:30. And on weekends, on a Saturday morning, I would train for 2 hours. And then on a Sunday morning, I would also train for 2 hours, but that was with Mr. Paroff in Cardiff for squad training. Okay. I've been going to squad training since I was about the age of 9 or 8. Yeah.
Right, okay. So, and, you know, I know me personally, I came from a Taekwondo family, my dad, and you know him.
Yeah.
And he's a taskmaster.
Yeah.
So anywhere he was going, I was always going with Taekwondo. So when I first started, I didn't really enjoy it. I used to just turn up, didn't pay much of an interest. Did you always enjoy it straight away? I know you said you had a bit of a break, but once you decided you wanted to do it, was that you driving or was it your parents pushing you?
It was more like my parents trying to encourage me to be a part of their passion and their love for Taekwondo so that we could eventually grow and do it all together, which we do now. But I didn't really enjoy it at the start because I was very nervous to be with new people, to try new things. But after that, I tried it again after about, 6 months maybe. And I just started to get into a routine, really, of being there with everyone after I got more comfortable with being with all the little kids and being around all my friends. Like, I started around the same time as Kieran Sullivan.
Yeah.
And we've kind of grown through the sport together, really.
Yeah, sure.
It was nice to always have friends, and I always used to have mates then that I could just train with.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to... I didn't really know the difference between like left and right, kicking and punching, but I knew that I was doing something, and it felt better than just sitting down and watching.
Well, I think the other thing as well, when you're that age, being part of like a bigger family and having friends that do Taekwondo with you. I know a lot of my younger students say, when I say to them, "What's the best thing about Taekwondo?" They'll say, "Oh, seeing my friends." You know what I mean? It's more about seeing their friends and having like a common interest than it is actually the sport they're even doing, really.
Yeah. I really enjoy it, and I do love the friends that I've made through the sport, and they're friends that you can just keep for a lifetime, really. And you see them all the time at training, at comps, when we go away, stuff like that. It's really good.
Right. You know what? That is exactly me and Gavin. We started at a young age. And, we used to just hang around together because we were friends and loved doing Taekwondo together. Then we went to a period where we had dodgy clothes and long hair. And now we're both bold doing interviews and interviewing younger superstars. Friend for life, Gavin Cook.
Yeah, when we say bold, I choose to be bold though, Jackson.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he does. Allegedly. And I look better being bold, so yeah, the afro didn't suit me, so I'm glad that era's gone, Maya.
You mentioned about your gymnastics. How important do you think has that been to you in helping, obviously, with your forms and your patterns and your obviously your flexibility and your foot position and things like that? Would you put quite a lot of that down to your gymnastics?
Yes, I think that gymnastics does come hand in hand with martial arts. I know that they are viewed as completely opposite sports because gymnastics is very elegant, a very soft and gentle sport, whereas martial arts is seen as more aggression and you need a lot more power, etc. But I think gymnastics really played an important role in my Taekwondo life because it did help me a lot with my balance, my flexibility, my core strength. It got me used to remembering routines. I like to martial arts where it's very disciplined.
Yeah.
So I think I did really enjoy learning both of them alongside each other. And in 2013, I think, in the world, I did that's my first musical pattern, and that's where I did my somersaults and flips and my trick kicks and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. I remember that. It was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, thank you. It all kind of come hand in hand, and it all helped one another, really.
Yeah, but certainly you can see how they both complement each other. And I know you say gymnastics is seen as is less aggressive. Certainly, it's less aggressive, but in terms of strength and power, to perform those flicks, those somersaults, you have to have a lot of strength, core strength, and explosive power. All the attributes that you need to be a strong fighter or competitor.
Yes, I spent a lot of my gymnastics, especially my early gymnastics life, a lot of my time conditioning because you need to get really strong to do all the basic gym so that you can prepare for all the higher level skills. So I think all that basic conditioning really did help me focus all the right muscle groups and core strength, especially for like my side kicks and all that.
Sure. Yeah.
They do complement each other, and I think that everyone should learn a little bit of, not really gymnastics, but learn a bit about how to condition themselves, how to train the right muscle groups when it comes to stretching and stuff like that, because it does play a big role when it comes to Taekwondo, especially in patterns.
Yeah, most definitely.
Getting used to performing certain foot positions, doing your balances in like bending stance, holding your kicks, and then obviously plays a part in your side kicks, turning kicks, reverse turning kicks. for your sparring as well.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I used to do gymnastics, and we have a long-standing joke, me and Gavin. That's why I can hold my leg up above my waist. Where Gavin, if you ever see him in a competition, he's always getting pulled up for kicking people in the groin. Yeah. He never did gymnastics when he was a kid.
But what Jackson doesn't know is I do that on purpose. Because once you get a good kick in the nuts, the head drops.
Awful, Gavin.
Everyone has their own tactic.
Yeah. So how old are you when you achieved your first Dan?
When I achieved my first Dan, I think I was 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was 10.
Okay, so I noticed I was at the British Championships recently with you, and you were awarded the joint best grader with Megan Tomlinson. Just talk us a little bit through that and what you did to prepare for that particular grading.
Yes, me and Bregan did win the awards
Uh-huh.
for best in grading. That is my second grading award now.
Brilliant.
I did a lot for the last probably 6 months on my grading. I focused a lot on the tempo of my patterns, making my patterns a lot stronger. I tried to focus a lot on the technique in my line work as well, in terms of my kicks and trying to get the right foot positions all the time, trying to make sure that every kick wasn't too high so that I didn't wobble. I tried to keep all my kicks about shoulder height. I then worked a lot on my sparring because I didn't really want to fight really competitively because I didn't really see the point of it in the grading, but I do see the point in needing to show the technique. So I did work a lot on trying new things, trying to make myself look a lot better than I was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't try to go very, very heavy contact or anything like that. I did try to, however, score the points that I needed to, trying to get a lot of headshots, and then trying to move to try and make it look a lot more technical. I tried to make myself look very impressive. I tried to stay in front of the table.
Yeah.
In terms of my one step, I did include a takedown. I tried to work on basic one step as well as adding 1 or 2 jump kicks.
Yeah.
I worked very hard on my jump kicks in my line work, for your jump side kick, jump back kicks, etc. And I feel like on the day I did a really enjoyable grading.
Good.
I love to grade. I love doing my gradings because I feel like there's so much that you can do and show.
Sure.
I also worked very hard on my breaking. Breaking isn't something that I'm very confident on.
Yeah.
I did an elbow, back leg, back kick, and a flying side kick. I broke all boards. Quite easy, to be honest. But I think I really, really enjoy gradings because I enjoy that you can do your sparring, your patterns, your one step, your Korean, and your breaking all in one. You can really showcase what you do, and it's that opportunity to show in front of the masters, really, and all the other instructors that watch behind.
Yeah, you know what? When you work hard and you prepare for the grading, it should be an enjoyable experience because it's a case of going out, put your chest out, chin up, and show people what you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
So just quickly on that then.
Nervous, but I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, of course, everyone gets nervous, and that's understandable. But ultimately, you're a good performer. You're a great martial artist, so you should get out there and show people what you can do. So just going back, I just want to know a little bit more detail about your grading preparation. So you talked about you practice your back kicks. Did you take each piece of the grading? So, for example, you knew what you had to do in your line work. Did you practice a particular piece of the line work until you felt you were happy with it? Then move on to your one step. Practice particular techniques in your one step until you again felt happy with it. How did that prep go? What was your routine?
So me and my dad would come in about half an hour early to training, and he would go through the line work with me. We'd go through it all, and we'd kind of pick out which bits would need the most work, and I would just work and work and work on it until they looked right. Same as my patterns. My patterns are all right, but there were always things that I could improve on.
Sure.
One pattern that I really needed improving on was Riam. So I did work a lot on my pattern Wiam. Pattern Chung Chang was my second dan pattern that I performed in comps, alongside Kodam, which I do with synchronized patterns. So I didn't really have much problems with those two, but Wiam, I did struggle a bit trying to get my kicks right and really precise. Yeah. So I did work a lot on those patterns.
Yeah, it's getting that balance on the reverse turning kick, isn't it?
Yeah. I wobbled a lot on that at the start on my left leg.
Yeah.
My right leg was okay, but my left leg was a bit of a hit and miss. It wasn't really my control. I think it was just that sometimes I get a bit ahead of myself in my patterns, especially towards the end of the pattern. So it was all about trying to keep a level head when I was doing all of my patterns, especially pattern Wiam with a lot of kicks. I get a bit nervous when it comes to kicks and patterns because I always think I'm going to wobble. Yeah. So it was I needed a lot of practice on that pattern. My line work, I did need a lot of help with there was one, you have to do 3 kicks, like front leg, front leg, hook kick, turning kick, side kick, back leg, axe kick, reverse punch.
Yeah.
Something like that. I worked a lot on that because my right leg was good, but my left leg, again, needed a lot of work on my control. So because in your second to third dan line there are a lot of kicks, I did focus a lot of my efforts on trying to make those kicks look really sharp, really precise. And I think that was probably the bit that I spent the most time on, was my line work, the kicks in my line work, just because I know that line work is probably the longest bit really. Yeah. And there's only about 12 of you, and everyone can see every mistake that you do. So I didn't really want to make too many obvious mistakes really.
Yeah, sure.
So I did break a lot of my line work down and try and focus a lot on that.
Good stuff. I mean, I think what the key takeaway is it doesn't just happen, does it? You've put a lot of work into getting that award. And, even going down to analysing, breaking down each particular technique and looking where to improve on. So I think that's really admirable. And a lot of our listeners out there that, have aspirations to get the grading award or want to improve.
Or just get a black belt.
Or just get a black belt. Yeah. We'll take inspiration from the fact, someone as technically gifted as you, you may be gifted with a natural ability, but you still work and work and work and then work some more on each of those techniques. So, really commendable. Okay, just want to ask you about your fighting. So if you had an option in a competition to do patterns or fighting, which would you pick and why?
I would do patterns. I really like the structure of patterns. I like that they're a set routine, and I like the technicality of them. I quite enjoy being on the ring with either 3 or 5 judges in front of me, and I like doing my pattern for them and getting the feedback and knowing my score, seeing where I can improve. I like competing against others in that manner because I like to watch other people do their pattern. I like to see how different people interpret their patterns, whether it's fast, whether it's slow, high section, middle section kicks. I like the technicality of it in terms of your foot positions and kicks. I like trying to improve my pattern in terms of making it stronger, trying to change the tempos of certain patterns. I do prefer patterns over sparring. I think the patterns are more technical than sparring. Although
the thing about patterns, Maya, is you don't get punched in the nose as well. I always think always helps.
I don't mind taking a kick to the face or a punch to the face. It doesn't really bother me, to be honest.
Right, they're obviously not hitting you hard enough, then, are they?
Well, I think
a lot of people think it's weird, but I'm not really bothered about getting
hit. I think I may have put Gavin off a few years back. I always remember one of my good ridge hands to his nose, and his nose popped yet again on the square. And after that, he's never been the same. Have you, mate?
Yeah, no. I had to get it cauterised after that.
Yeah, bless him. He had to get a nurse on and have a look at it. Bless him.
So obviously we talked a lot about Taekwondo. Obviously only at the tender young age of 18. So what do you do outside of Taekwondo? At university, and do you have any hobbies outside of Taekwondo, or is that pretty much take up most of your life?
Taekwondo has taken over my life, but I did start gymnastics when I was about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And I'm a qualified level 1 women's artistics coach, and I'm currently waiting for my exam in February for my level 2.
Okay.
Artistic coaching, women's artistic coaching qualification. I'm also a club judge in gymnastics, and I'm on the waiting list to do a disability awareness module and a preschool gymnastics course.
Brilliant. So
I'm having a gap year in school as well. I finished school in July.
Okay.
I haven't gone to uni just because I'm purely not sure about what I want to do yet.
Okay.
So
are you going to travel?
I'm going to see where the one takes me.
Are you looking at travelling, Mark?
Travelling.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm ready to travel financially just because I'm a bit skint. But I do like to go on holiday. Like, I've been to France at the start of the year. I went to Croatia, Spain. I went to Malaysia for a month.
Cool.
And I like to travel with Taekwondo.
Can I just stop you there,
International.
Maya? I work 7 days a week. I run clubs and I have a full-time job, and I only go on holiday twice a year. No wonder you're skint. 4 holidays in a year.
Yeah, but it's worth it though.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, you got to work for it. Fair enough.
And I don't have any bills or tax and stuff like that to pay at the moment, so I'm just spending my money while I can.
Okay, fair enough.
Enjoy it while
yeah.
you can, Mark.
So what's next for you in
Yeah.
in Taekwondo then? What competitions are you focusing on over the next 12 months?
Probably the English. That's in March.
Yeah.
The Welsh, and I am focusing on the World in 2021, which is going to be held in Coventry, I think.
It is, yeah. So not too far from the home of the motivated martial artists.
Are you doing a musical
Yeah.
pattern, Maya?
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, I will be able to.
What's the song? Or can't you announce that yet? Or do you not
I
know?
don't know. The song choice always comes out about 6 months before the World. I usually think about moves first,
Yeah.
and then think about what kind of music would kind of match it.
Okay.
It should be, some people do it the other way around. They do music first and then try and build around it. But I've always done moves first and then think about what kind of beat that I think would match what I'm trying to do, really.
Yeah, well, you can mix the music, can't you? You can mix the tempo, presumably
Yeah.
based on what what moves are going to be in that pattern.
Exactly.
Okay,
Good.
So, you know, you're a young lady. You've fought across all the divisions, and I'm always seeing you winning each of those divisions. Who has been some of your most inspirational fighters that you've watched growing up, and who you've either tried to emulate or be better than?
I do like to watch fighters like Matthew Jackson and Carl, just because they are not only close to home, but Matthew Jackson is very, very good with his legs, and Carl, I really...
That's Carl Betty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joseph Henry. I really do admire, because they are, no offence, guys, but
Welsh.
short fighters.
Short and Welsh.
So, yeah. I really do admire the way that they fight, and I do try to take a lot and learn from them, because they're in my position where they are the shortest or one of the shortest in their category, but they always seem to come out on top, because I do watch their fights, and I did watch them growing up as well, how they move, how they adapt to who they're fighting.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you need to learn to fight if you're short, you see.
Yeah. I do find when you're short, it is always you're at a disadvantage sometimes, just in height. But then again, you do have the advantage of moving.
Yeah, most
You
definitely.
can move sometimes a lot quicker than someone taller. You can kind of get around their legs, but it does come with some struggles. But I do feel that Joe and Carl, I really do look up to
Okay.
when it comes to sparring. I did love watching Tamsin as well, Tamsin Oti.
Yeah,
When I
sure.
was
Yeah,
I just-
another great fighter for
I
the
used to love to
TAGB.
watch sport. I really liked the way she fought. There's something about it I just really liked. It really caught my eye when she was fighting. I did kind of admire her when I was watching her. I didn't watch her for that long. I know that I did watch her for long enough to know who she was. And I did think that she was an excellent fighter.
Okay, and who's been one of your hardest opponents? Who's given you the hardest fight over the years?
Oh, that's tricky. I've had a lot of hard fights, especially yesterday in the British when I fought Vicky. Her hands are like lightning. Yeah. Honestly, it's so fast.
And that's is that Vicky Jones of England, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And how did you do?
Another good answer. Pardon?
How did you get on yesterday? I didn't see. I've not seen the results yet.
I came second.
Okay.
I lost to her in the final.
Right. Okay. So there's a challenge there straight away, isn't there?
Yeah. Another one, very good opponent is Alice. I'm not sure what her last name is.
Alice Cahill.
Cardinal.
Yeah.
Something like that. She's got an excellent leg on her. It's very, very good. And I think everyone that I fight does just come with so many different skills. And I'm not really, I don't mean to sound big-headed, I'm not really afraid to fight anyone really, but that's just because I enjoy learning from them, whether or not it's a win or a lose. I enjoy learning from my opponent. What could I have improved on? How could I have beat this person? What could I do in the future? I enjoy all the opponents really.
Yeah, sure. That doesn't sound big-headed at all. You know, as a fighter that's taking it seriously. You know, if you are feeling afraid, yeah, that's fine. But actually, you know, getting out there, testing yourself against opponents. You know, I fought Warren Weiss probably about 6 times, never beat him. But do you know what? Every time I went away and trained, I watched the videos, look what I did wrong, and each time I got closer and closer, but just never got those decisions. So you know, he never scared me. I never felt fearful, but I really wanted to try and get out there and prove myself to beat him. So getting out, you know, and losing a few fights. You know, and coming back, more techniques, slightly better, slightly fitter, slightly stronger is certainly the right approach, most definitely.
I just think that everyone has a certain skill set that they're good at that someone else can just learn from. And I think I really, really enjoy going to comps and trying to challenge myself and push myself to try and beat my own boundaries, really, and the challenges that I set for myself.
Good. Fantastic. So we're coming towards the end of the interview now then, Maya. So one question that we always ask our guests is, what motivates you? What makes you get out of bed in the morning? What makes you want to be better than you were yesterday?
Me, I strongly believe that every day is a new opportunity. So anything that I did wrong yesterday or in the past, I believe that if I just wake up, I can forget about it and learn from it. I teach alongside my parents, and it really motivates me that I can go to class and teach them everything that I have learned from, all the mistakes that I've learned from. I can teach them how to avoid, how to get around. I enjoy working with anyone, really. I teach kids from the age of 4 to like 50 plus, teach the adults as well.
It's good to pass on your experience and your knowledge, isn't it? For sure.
Yeah. I really, really, really enjoy teaching. It is something I'm really passionate about, and I enjoy being able to go to class, not only train alongside my students, but also kind of give back to them, give them advice, tell them how to do this, tell them how to do that. I enjoy really training with my dad as well. That motivates me, knowing that my instructor isn't just someone that I've joined a club with. It is someone that knows a lot about me, someone who is always with me, and it motivates me in the morning knowing that I get to train and work with my family. I really enjoy being able to participate in this sport with my family. I really do.
No, that's fantastic. Do you know what? That's really nice as well to hear.
Yeah.
You know, family, your immediate family, your martial art family. You know, in my life, they're the biggest things. You know, without a doubt. And I know Gavin's exactly the same. We both got children, as you know. You know my daughters, and you know, they all train with me. Gavin's sons train with him, and then those families come together, and then we all get together a few times a year at the championships, on the foreign abroad trips, and then you're with your Taekwondo family again. So no, that's really good. Okay, Maya, we're going to wrap it up there. Oh, but before we do, I've got one final question for you. What advice would you give to anybody that's looking in at you at the ring, doing your patterns or doing your sparring, that want to achieve the same standards and levels that you've achieved? What advice would you give them?
The advice I would give them is probably to not give up, because even though I do win patterns and sparring quite a few times, I don't win every time. People need to learn not to take a loss quite close to heart. Yes, it can be very upsetting in that moment, but I think it's just something that people should take it as a lesson to learn from. People shouldn't take a loss too sensitively, because they need to know that there's always more competitions, there's always going to be another grading, there's always going to be someone better than you, and they should just learn that just because you're on top, it doesn't mean that you always started on top. Everyone starts from the same position, everyone starts as a white belt, and everyone grows and works up towards a black belt or whatever belt they're trying to achieve. I think people should learn, really importantly, to not quit Taekwondo.
Sure.
Because it does teach you a lot of life skills. It teaches you how to be very respectful. It teaches you something new. I think people need to learn just to enjoy the sport in that moment instead of stressing and worrying too much.
Yeah. No, do you know what, Maya? Wise words from a very young head.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same. Really good advice, you know, for someone that's someone's really quite still so young, really.
Yeah. Okay, Maya. Do you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure having you on this morning. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on. I know you were a bit nervous, but you've been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you for having me, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and our Facebook group, The Motivated Martial Artist Podcast.
Or check us out on Instagram, The Motivated Martial Artists,
where you'll see much more content and early insight into some of the interviews and some of the guests and some of the conversations around the things that we're discussing. Hope to see you all next week.
Bye for now.
Bye.